Mm. Hello. Thank you for listening to and watching You Had Options. This episode, I have Kevin and Andrew from the Birmingham, Alabama melodic punk band Qualifier. It's a great conversation. We go through the history of Qualifier, kind of talk about Birmingham music scene, talk about different spaces here, how many bands are going on right now. Talk about Andrew's old house venue called God's Butt. Yeah, this is a great conversation. Go check them out at Qualifier AL on Twitter and Instagram. Go check them out on Spotify, wherever you get music. They're on Bandcamp. Check out You Had Options at You Had Options on Twitter and Instagram. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go review anything and everything, all that stuff. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Andrew and Kevin, thank you for joining me.
Hello.
How's it going?
Here.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
We're going. Yeah.
What's up?
Sorry for being late.
It's okay.
I'll own to that on
It's
air.
okay.
Yeah, I'll say again, we probably ran through all of the good stuff when we weren't recording and waiting on you.
I'm gonna find out that a whole different version of this comes out that's already been done
Without you.
that I never even saw. Yeah.
But you guys are Qualifier.
Yeah, just us.
This is pretty much it.
This is pretty much it. There are three others, but I'm band dad and he's band mom.
Is that true? Is that accurate, Andrew?
I mean, that's fine with me. Yeah. I make sure everybody washes their hands. And
I was being generous with band mom, honestly.
Fair. I'll take that responsibility. I mostly yell at everyone, so that's fine. I can handle band mom. I'm good at that.
But yeah, we're here.
I mean, I think any successful band or any band that wants to continue being a band, you got roles.
I was about to say, dude,
you have to delegate.
You're saying a lot with successful though.
Hugely successful.
First of all, dial those adjectives back.
Yeah,
secondly,
continue being a band is correct.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, and you can have too many people that want to be responsible, and it bemes a problem.
That's right. Too many cooks.
Everybody has to know what their role is.
I wouldn't mind one or two more though.
Kevin has to do everything, merch and booking shows and shipping stuff, and then Tyler writes fun leads that make our songs sound better, and that's everybody's got their role.
Right. Yeah.
If we had Tyler booking shows, or Tim, God, if we had Tim booking shows, imagine the places we would go.
Yeah.
We would end up in the middle of nowhere on a Wednesday night at 1 a.m.
You never know.
It's good. Everybody
I've
knows
done that myself.
Everybody knows what they're supposed to do.
I mean,
how long have y'all been together?
It's almost embarrassing to admit. Probably.
I guess
2019.
Yeah. No. Earlier than that, because my daughter was born in February of 2019, and our second show was with the Descendants, and that was March of 2019.
Okay, so
because my daughter was a month old when we played with the Descendants, so probably middle of 2020, I guess.
Well, what?
No, middle of 2018.
2018, yeah, because
so
4
years.
We had a while of just me and Andrew and a revolving door of people trying to do shit. Andrew called me and was like, "I've got these songs. I want to do a band," and I was like, "Sick." and we had another guitarist, and we were just kind of learning them. And then we had another drummer, and going through it for a bit. That guitarist fell out, and we brought in Tim, recorded our first EP demo, and with just me on guitar. So we were a 4-piece.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I think it was before we played our first show, because our first show was our EP release, our tape release.
Yeah, that was like January of 2019.
That drummer had already left, and then we brought Reagan in.
Yeah, he never played
and
a
we
show.
brought Tyler in, and then that's been the...
January 2019 feels fair.
Okay.
We'll never have an anniversary because it wasn't a thing, and then one day it was.
One day I can look at...
we practiced for probably 6 months before we ever played a show.
Yeah.
More than that, probably, honestly, trying to figure out who was going to do everything. And I mean, Tyler didn't even record for the first EP. The first EP was just me, you, Tim, and a drummer that we don't have anymore recording it. Yeah. And so... I don't know, like this lineup, I mean, I don't know. I guess January 2019.
Something like that. I could look at whenever that was released and then just say that's the date.
Yeah,
but
that's
somewhere
that'd be
around
fine.
there.
Yeah. Had y'all been in bands together before? Or did you both grow up in Birmingham?
We
area?
did, but we didn't really know each other. Mm-mm. I knew who Andrew was, because he had a venue in Birmingham. There's a fucking basement called God's Butt.
Okay.
And he can elaborate on God's Butt, but it was just a house in Glen Iris where they'd have punk and hardcore shows.
It wasn't just a house. It was a home.
So much more. Yeah.
Live, laugh, love, dude.
It was a beautiful home.
But we met because we bonded over a mutual love of roller coasters.
Yeah.
Really?
And we took a trip to Cedar Point.
Oh shit, the Holy Land.
Yeah,
roller coasters.
Indeed.
Yeah, and we went 3 or 4 years in a row, and then finally we're just like, we should start a fucking punk band.
Roller
I had a
coaster
couple
band.
of songs in the bag, and I knew what they sounded like, and I knew what kind of band I wanted to have. And Kevin seemed like the kind of guy that would be into it, so I asked him, and he said yeah. And then we went through about 8 different people of trying to figure out who else was going to be in the band. And that took a minute. But I knew Tim from playing old shows at Cave 9 back in the day, and I was a big fan when I was in high school of Tim's band, The Payoff, growing up. And I just knew him through all of that, and then... To be honest, we met Reagan through our drummer that we had before, because Reagan showed up to one of our practices one day and got behind the kit, and we liked what he sounded like, and then that ended up being a thing and working out.
I knew Reagan forever.
Yeah, I had seen him play, and I had honestly forgotten about him.
It's a cold world, brother.
And then he showed up.
If you're late for band practice,
up to practice, and he messed around a little bit, and we were like, "That sounds pretty good."
He knew our old drummer and was coming to like work on his drums, and I knew Reagan. Like my first hardcore band when I was like 17. He's like 5 years younger than me, and he'd come to shows. There are pictures of him like grabbing the mic from me and singing and shit. Yeah. But I knew he was an incredible drummer, and I thought he fell off the face of the earth. I hadn't seen him in forever. And then he showed up. I'm like, fuck, Reagan still lives here? And
there's only so many
quit.
viable drummers in a place like Birmingham, right? Like, especially for punk. Like,
I think that's any scene,
Yeah. And there's only so many guys you can, like, find. And then when you start talking about really, really, like, top-tier good punk drummers.
Right.
Which makes or breaks a band. Like, in a lot of ways, for stuff like this, like, if you have a really solid, tight drummer... That's the difference.
The thing
between
is,
your band sounding really tight and your band sounding really sloppy.
Reagan's not a punk drummer. He doesn't listen to fucking punk, dude. I think he heard his first Green Day song like a year ago.
Yeah, that's true. We had to sit him down.
But he plays hardcore and metal and shit. So like it was a pretty easy transition once we were like, sound like this.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, got it.
Yeah.
It's chill.
Yeah. So, yeah, Andrew, we just met tonight.
Right.
But, like, me and my girlfriend, who you might see later, if she comes out here.
Word.
We just moved up here in like June-ish from Mobile.
Okay.
And so, the music scene here, there's a lot, it seems to be a lot going on, especially with like metal and hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like there's been
Has it always been that way, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it almost seems like there's been kind of a resurgence in the past like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Maybe it hit like a lull, and then like these younger kids that are going to UAB and coming up, and they're all moving into houses together, much like he had God's Butt. You've got the Hatch now, where all these guys live together. And they're making bands, and so it seems like there are a lot more young kids making bands now and booking shows. And I'd say it's gotten a lot bigger as of recently. You just moved up at a great time. How are you liking Birmingham compared to
I love
Mobile?
Birmingham. Birmingham's great.
When I was listening to the one you did with Nick from Direct Hit. It was funny because I was watching it and I thought you were right in there in your living room, and then you said you were still living in Mobile and thinking about moving to Birmingham.
Yeah.
And
it's the same couch. Yeah.
I was like, okay, maybe it's just the same couch, but it was set up like right in front of a window as well.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh,
yeah.
similar setup.
Yeah. God, man. Yeah. I had a sick apartment in Mobile.
Hell yeah.
I just missed my shower from Mobile. That's the only thing I missed.
Yeah.
It was this apartment complex, and the shower was like the length of the bathroom.
Fuck yeah.
And so it's like one of those huge, like, at a nice like casino,
just
like
walk right
hotel.
in. Yeah, dude.
Man.
Yeah, it's a big difference moving from a nice apartment to a fucking old house in an old neighborhood.
Yeah, this is a nice house.
I'm
we
there.
like it.
No, it's a beautiful house. I live in a house
Kevin,
just
get
like
the
it.
fuck out of here.
But I've been there where I had like a new apartment complex.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
all right, I'm going to buy a house in a cool neighborhood in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And then be like, what was the house built? Like the 50s?
I think this is I think I looked, and this is like the 30s.
50s.
30s. Yeah. My old one in Eastlake was in the 40s. Damn. And it was very similar. It was a fantastic house. I loved it.
Yeah. There's a cool, like, there's a crawl space that's like,
Yeah.
it's more like a walking space that I
Right.
recently got access to.
Wait, what do you mean recently?
Because they didn't have a key for it. And so I was like, I'd like to get in there and see if there's like something I could like store in there.
How many squatters?
No, there wasn't anybody. I didn't see any
Door
bones
locked,
or
dude.
anything. I was expecting like a outlet to be running,
Right.
a power strip to be running down there. But I want to put something. I want to put like a weird idol or something in there before we like move, and just let somebody find it.
It's always the best when people like rip up floorboards or take wallpaper off and there's like pentagrams and shit.
Yeah.
Or like fake bones in the walls.
I left a note in my Nashville house when I graduated from college. I'm not going to say where it is or what it says, but there's a note in there someone could find in the gingerbread house if they wanted to.
That was the name of your
Yeah.
Nashville house.
Yeah, we had.
God, you got some good
What the fuck did
house
the note
names.
say?
He's not gonna.
I'm
He
not going to
can't
disclose.
not
what
say it
the
on
note
air.
says, but
We'll
if
say
you
it
know
off
where-
pod.
But if anyone knows where the gingerbread house was on Allison Street in Nashville, off of Wedgwood, it stands to this day. I saw it not too long ago.
All right.
Yeah, there's a note in there. It's you gotta look for it.
You trying to not incriminate yourself?
Nah, someone will find it. Someone will find it. I wanted to stay a mystery. Someone will find it, and they'll be able to contact me when they do. And I don't want to.
I like
It's a
it.
long game running. It's going on.
Okay.
It's going on 09, so like 13 years now, and I haven't gotten word yet. So it's still out there. I'm not gonna ruin it by some random, chain of event. I don't want to butterfly effect this thing to ending. Its
And
course.
I don't want to dox whoever's living there now. And just,
Right?
like,
Yeah.
people
No.
just
I
show
don't
up.
wanna,
Well, we kind of already did that.
Damn it.
yeah, that's true.
A little
It's
bit.
I don't know
probably-
if they call their home the Ginger Ed.
No, it wasn't like God's Butt. It wasn't on Google Maps or anything.
So was God's Butt was the house, or was it just the venue part?
No,
the
God's
basement.
so the venue was just the basement, and there was
Right.
graffiti, and there was a really nice big tag behind like where the drum set was set up that would say God's Butt.
Okay.
And it was a pure basement with like a storm cellar exit out the back to the backyard, like a real vintage basement.
Okay.
But we just kind of generally referred to the house as God's Butt. It was on Google Maps as God's Butt.
Okay.
which was a mistake that I made. We had a couple of bigger shows come through. I think the one that did it was Balance and Composure was playing, and we got a million messages asking where God's Butt was, because there were a lot of people coming from out of town that had no idea. They weren't from here. Sure. They were traveling, and they kept hitting me up, and I finally said, like, I'm going to put this on Google Maps. We were all sitting on the porch, and someone was like, how do you even do that? And we went and did the research, and it turns out it takes 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, it takes 2 days because they mail you a postcard. But you just put in the address. If it isn't claimed, you claim the address. They mail a postcard to the address. You go onto this Google hyperlink. You type in like a 5-digit code. Whatever you want it to be is on Google Maps.
Okay.
It turns out it's much harder to make it not be on Google Maps than it is to be on Google Maps.
Oh,
like if your landlord, it turns out, like, grew up in that house and has a lot of sentimental value attached to it, and then like one day finds out that it's been renamed God's Butt on the internet.
Dude? Is that a true?
He gets really upset, and then your old roommates, because fortunately you've moved out at that point, but your old roommates have to figure out how to make it not say that on the internet.
Shit.
And it turns out that it's really difficult to undo that. To close that door. So, name your house whatever you want, but just know that once you do, it's going to be semi-permanent. It is probably the best way to
brings me
describe
to my next point.
Make it count. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a surprise for you. This is the You Had Options house on Google Maps now.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations.
We did this
You're
weeks
welcome.
ago.
Thank you.
No, but it was a great spot. It was it was a house, a venue. There was a mini ramp in the back that my roommates built. I can't skate, but most of them could. There were 6 of us. We all lived there. We were all in different bands that were at that time I was in the Fourth Estate, and then we had guys that were in like Ollie the Bum and some other bands, and everyone was like in and out on tour or at home or whatever. Someone was usually up 24 hours a day. The doors were always unlocked. We had shows pretty consistently. I mean, everything from like Cruel Hand played there once to Menzingers to Balance and Composure. We had Green Seed down there once. We had some hip hop shows every now and then. Like, it was a really cool spot. It was just
were people taking stage selfies with Tom?
No, because there was no stage. It was a good
shots fired, Tom.
It was it was a really cool house in that usually there when you do a house show, like 80% of the people are sitting around outside.
Right. Yeah.
And then at our house, generally, it was pretty good about, like, we never had any problems. Everyone was inside. Everyone was really respectful. And it was a big enough space that you could do some cool stuff there. So it ran for a good while. It was a nice spot. And I drive by it all the time these days. And it's been like the house just got sold and bought by someone who immediately like fixed it up and flipped it. And so it's not the same anymore.
And now the really fucking hatch is like right down the street.
Yeah, but now there's like a new house that's literally around the corner from where that was. That area of Glen Iris has always had spots where it's just it's a good neighborhood for house shows. There's a lot of college kids, so not a ton of like older adults or people, with kids and stuff like that. And a lot of houses with basements, so it just kind of
they've actually got 2 for it. They've got the hatch and then the hatch 2, which is a house just like around the corner.
I like that.
If for whatever reason they can't have it at the first one, they just fucking take the PA over there. I like it. That show we played there last month with School Drugs, we had a Mormon or a Jehovah's Witness come up on a bicycle and
witness to y'all,
dude. He came up and tried to hand Fid from School Drugs a like pamphlet, and Fid was like, "No, I'm good, man." He was like, "No, I'll take it." And he was like, "No,
you need this more than I do.
I don't believe in God or religion." He said something like that. I could see his wheels turning.
Yeah,
and he wasn't. We were all being like nice, like just no, we're good, man. Thank you,
whatever. Yeah,
dude, this guy went to the corner of the street. House is on the corner. He went up and stood there, I shit you not, for at least all of 20 minutes reading scripture. And like
out loud?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He was I posted a video. I'll show
Hard
it
to
to
tell if he was saving
Like-
souls or casting spells.
Like, as he was riding
didn't
away,
work
we were trying to
either
talk
way.
to him and be like, hey, man, just curious, what religion are you? Because they're from New Jersey, so they're like, wherever they live, they didn't see that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was like, what religion are you? And he was ignoring us. We thought he couldn't hear us. No, he just didn't want to talk to us anymore. Because when he started preaching, we were like, hey, man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He just ignored us for 20 straight minutes, was yelling from his bicycle scripture. We didn't know what he was saying. I was trying to get him to pay $8. Like, there's plenty of unsaved
Hey,
souls
man, you
in
gotta.
this basement.
There's a lot of
You
souls down
guys-
here.
Yeah, a ton, man. $8 is all it takes. I'll
Yeah.
get baptized for $8. You come to this show, man.
God, dude. Yeah, I guess there's something to be said for the conviction, but I don't know. Just a little-
Sure,
It
dude.
takes guts.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But at a certain point, like, it was just a parody. Like, people
Yeah.
were going out there and two-stepping in the yard to him preaching.
Ah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, do what you're gonna do, I guess.
Yeah.
He got out of there, and I saw him circle the block like 2 more times, just looking,
Yeah.
searching.
Just cruising. Yeah.
But it was also like 8 p.m. on a Tuesday. You knock on my door at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday, dude. It's not the time.
No. Yeah. But like, houses like that are so important. Like house shows and
absolutely.
God's butt and yeah.
Yeah, you need a spot that's like, the auxiliary to the spot, like the firehouse or the forge or, whatever it is at the time. Like, you need somewhere that can run, stuff when the main spot's not going to be able to run stuff, or if it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Like, the best time I can remember in Birmingham was, it felt like there were just like venues that were perfect for everything. Like, there was the Forge, which was like a mile from here, that was like a great, like 350 to 400 kind of bigger cap room. And then you had the Firehouse in Avondale, it's still there, that was like 75 to 125, like medium DIY room. And then if you wanted to get real cozy, like Magic City Wholesale was still going, and it was just literally like an upstairs.
Dude.
It was the size of this living room.
It was legit.
But it was great for
Like-
Coliseum filmed a music video in that room.
Fucking Touche and Moray and La Dispute played that room.
Oh,
Balance and Composure played that room
Balance
a
and
lot.
Composure played
I
that
opened for
room.
Balance and Composure in that room to 4 people paid.
Yeah.
A lot of really good bands. Like, that was their first spot in Birmingham, and the reason they ended up there was because they were brand new, and you couldn't really get a hold of anyone who like ran the Firehouse, or
So-
weren't ready for the Forge yet or whatever.
That
like,
La Dispute and Touche and Moray show, this was at their height. I don't know how the fuck they got
that was
stuck
a different
there.
situation.
But basically, it's this old like building in downtown. It's just standalone. You can still see it. It's for sale, lease, rent, whatever. You don't want to buy it because there's no way it was up to code back then.
Okay.
But like, you walk up the stairs and there's this skinny ass hallway, and then legit
the
room
stairs
up-
were terrifying too.
Yeah.
You just like weren't getting up there easily.
skinny ass hallway, and then straight up a room just this big.
Yeah.
And that show, motherfuckers, room, long hallway, stairs. People were on the stairs just listening.
Damn.
Like,
If you had 15
it was
people in that
nuts.
room, it felt packed.
Yeah.
And it was fun. But it was good because you had an option for like, you knew, like, if you had a reasonable idea of like what type of show you wanted to do, like you had all of those plus houses, and having that kind of variety was a really nice thing to have. And we have some of that again today. I mean, we have houses to play in. We still have the Firehouse is going. You can do parachute shows at Saturn if you want something that's, like a little more polished or nice or whatever.
have you been to one of those?
No,
A
I've
parachute show?
I've seen them call them parachute. What is the parachute
Dude,
show?
so they straight up, you've been to Saturn.
Yeah.
So they straight up just cut the room in half and put up, you remember like those in elementary school, those parachutes where everybody would grab the side and fucking and then get up under it.
Yeah.
They have a parachute like that.
Okay.
They cut in the middle of the room. They just fucking hang it from the ceiling.
Okay.
And so the band sets up like under the parachute, and they set lights up on the floor and turn the lights off, and so it's much more intimate, and for bands that aren't going to sell out that room.
Yeah.
But they mostly do. I mean, they do a lot of local shows that way. They're all free.
Yeah.
But it's Saturn, so they're sick, and they still pay really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a bar, so like people buy drinks, people buy merch.
But it's really fucking cool. I booked one not too long ago, and that was our first time doing it, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
Because like, unless you're playing to a packed out room, playing on that giant ass stage,
it's lonely up there.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really see shit because those lights are glaring, but you know
you can feel it.
So like it's a really cool thing
and we've played that stage in both directions. Like we've played that stage where there were 20 people out there, and then there's last year we played that stage when Haste asked us to play with them for like a reunion show, and it was packed. And it's it was crazy. But it's good to have like different size venues and like have options for different things that you can that you can tap into, like depending on what you need.
Will and those guys, Will from Apprehend, and those guys that live in the hatch and run the hatch and do all that shit's it's very cool, very important. It's nice to have, because up until Saturn was doing those fucking parachute shows, and like the Firehouse operates as other things. So that's not always an option. So it's really sick to have that.
We'd like to hereby issue a formal expression of gratitude to the kids, because we're old.
The youths
of today. Thank you, youths of today, for you really are carrying the torch of Birmingham. I'm too old. My arms are tired. So yeah.
Fuck you, dude. I'm still young.
All kidding aside, Kevin's young. All kidding aside,
I'm only 31.
It's cool. I don't get to go to these spots that much. I got kids. I got wife, job, shit, etc. But it is really cool that like every now and then we get asked to play like a show at one of these spots, and I get to go see it and I get to experience it. And I would be the last person to take credit for anything positive that's happening in the scene today, because my ass just shows up to shows that we play, and I play them, and occasionally if I'm lucky I get to get out and see something cool, but I'm not going to 15 shows a month. I'm not Doug or shout out Doug or any of the kids that are doing this, but I really do think it's awesome that there continues to be like this presence of really enthusiastic and like-minded people in scene, community, whatever you want to call it, that like keep like cool shit keeps popping up. They keep doing cool things. Like it just keeps happening, you know. And I'm sure like everybody like that's 10 years older than me was sitting there waiting to see what like my age group was gonna do, and then shut the fuck up. You've been talking like 75% of this, and so. It's really cool to like, you wonder what like the next kids are going to do and the next kids. And now I'm seeing like 16-year-olds show up when we play, and it's like, I can't wait to see what they do. Start a band, like figure out what what your age group is going to be into, and like what kind of stuff you're going to do.
What was Mobile like? We played there once, and I think there was like 4 people paid. That was the Blind Mule.
It was a bar.
Blind Mule.
It was an upstairs bar.
It was a really cool fucking bar.
Blind Mule is kind of so there's like a downtown strip of like Dolphin Street, and Blind Mule is like 3 blocks off of that, and so there's not a lot of like people just walking around,
Right.
But Blind Mule's cool. We played a lot of shows there. There's the Alabama Music Box,
which
is down there.
Right.
I've played the Music Box before.
Yeah, I've played there.
Yeah, that's like the
10 years ago.
Yeah, it's like
years ago.
It's like the punk place to play.
Right. Yeah,
they get a lot of different
our friend
styles
David books there a lot, but it's typically like bigger shows.
Yeah,
which I think since I've played there, they've moved. So
they're in a new spot from probably where y'all played. Yeah, but it's like on the same strip, the same street.
But like, was there like a scene there, or was it
Yeah.
mainly like bands would just come through needing a fucking spot to play, and you guys just happened to be a band that lived there, so you guys would go out and play like Pensacola? And shit.
There's some of that, but there's like there'd be waves of like people making bands, but it seemed like bands couldn't stay around or stick together, and so if I kind of like same thing. I like my ear wasn't to the street of like what was going on, and maybe there was stuff going on that I didn't know about, but
right.
Well,
even
cool.
the bands, I don't think there was a local band that
I don't
played
think
that
so.
show. I think it was like us.
I've
and
never
then there was
known-
a tour package.
I mean,
we just hopped on.
oh, yeah.
I won't claim to be like in the know or anything, but I never like heard about a lot of like stuff happening in Mobile. But you're close to Pensacola, and Pensacola I know has had like a great scene for like forever.
Yeah.
Like, I've played a lot of great shows in Pensacola.
Shout out Burning Strong.
Pensacola's always been a spot where I felt like every time we booked a show there, it was going to be great. Mobile may have awesome stuff. I may be pissing off someone right now going like, you stupid motherfucker. You don't even know what we got going in Mobile. Very true. I don't. For whatever reason, sometimes there's just a disconnect. Like, sometimes you just don't know what's going on in another city, and there's just like some weird connection where like bands from this city connect with bands from this city, and there becomes a pipeline where you can just like run back and forth. And then sometimes there's not. Like, we know for a fact, because we're friends with some of these bands, that like there's a really good scene in like Knoxville, and they have great shows up there. We see the evidence, especially now that we have Instagram and Facebook and stuff. We can see like, oh, that show looked really good.
Yeah.
I've never played Knoxville once in my life, and I've been, doing shows for I've been doing out of town shows through the South and the country for like 20 years. I've never played in Knoxville. I had no idea they had a great scene. They clearly do. There's never been like, never established that connection.
Yeah.
So. So Mobile might have a poppin' scene for all I know. Apologies if you do.
They've got some cool stuff going on now, I think. Yeah, they've got some cool punkier bands right now.
No, I mean, this was like 3 years ago we played.
Yeah,
it's a minute.
But I know the promoter. I know he's got a band or a couple bands and does some stuff, but I don't think they played. I'm pretty sure it was just like a kind of a last minute throw together.
So many thoughts. I'm gonna keep in my chest.
Hey, man, just keep them there.
Keep them right down here.
But
my heart.
it's like there's so many places that are like that where so many scenes that are. It's just like whatever, like a small network of people that are keeping the scene alive, pretty much by booking shows and. And
I feel like that's what a lot of people assume Birmingham is. Until they actually fucking come here.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, I see people posting shows like every day.
Yeah.
Like there's a show going on all the time.
Back... I mean, I started going to shows here in like 05-ish. When I was super young, I was like 14.
Yeah.
And even before that, it was huge. Like, I mean, Cave 9 was still open. I'm sure you've heard of the fabled Cave 9.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like, I came in on the tail end of that shit.
Yeah.
It was huge. And then the Firehouse opened. And I mean, we got a bunch of big tours that would come through the Firehouse back then.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Mike Parsons. That's how you do podcasts, right? You just shout people out.
You point at the camera. Big shout out.
But like, there was kind of a lull for a bit. Like David would book shows here, but most people pass Birmingham by. And I feel like this past year, when Sonny from Hate 56 came down here,
friend of the pod,
yeah. Check that one out, folks. And he filmed. I know Apprehend played that show. I can't pronounce.
Sandsberg Swag.
Yeah. Dude, that was a crazy fucking show. And Sonny posted on his Twitter like, touring bands, you want to play the fucking Firehouse in Birmingham, Alabama. dude, for 2 weeks, I had fucking hardcore and punk bands hitting me up, being like, "Yo, do you book at the Firehouse?" Like, people are finally starting to recognize, oh, there's a lot more than just a fucking Passover. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of young kids that are starting to tour and with their bands and shit that are helping make that a thing. Yeah, and it's fucking awesome. Yeah, because for a very long time we've been just kind of a Passover scene. Yeah, the people that know. That's why Furnace Fest is still a big thing, and bands will come back and reminisce about the old days. Yeah, but it's not just about the old days anymore, though. Fucking old days are over. New days have fucking begun. Let's start making new memories instead. Yeah,
I don't know. It seemed like we went to this past Furnace Fest, and it seemed like there's a lot of like there's like, I don't mean this in like a negative way. There's a lot of like nostalgia in Furnace Fest, but they also have like relevant. Yeah. And not that any of those bands aren't relevant. Right. But you know what I'm saying? Where it's like they've got younger bands too that are like coming up, and
I think they do a good job of like balancing that. I mean, the first year especially, when you bring it back, like it's the fucking return of Furnace Fest. Yeah. They got, especially that year, they got a lot more, I feel like, of the older bands.
Like bands were like reuniting for Furnace Fest.
Exactly. That's the point. It's, it's a nostalgia fest. I mean, they hadn't run one in 20 years. Like that was the idea, was we're going to get all, this is the vehicle to get all these bands back under the same roof for a weekend. Guys that haven't played together, bands that haven't played together for 10, 15 years, like we can get them all under one roof, and like you can come see them all in one stop. Yeah. And I think last year what we saw was that's a difficult thing to reproduce. Yeah. And so I kind of like the way that they're pivoting this year with like doing a pre-fest Friday night, like the shed only. And I think that there's a line. Yeah, and I think that there's a really cool line to be drawn where they, they tapped into some of like the first year, like you had all these nostalgia bands, but then like the Turnstile set was nuts. Yeah. And so like, you're like, there's a line to be drawn of like, you can find these old bands and like bring them back, but there's also like, you can incorporate like the younger stuff that's coming up.
Yeah. Turnstile is so crazy. They became like the biggest band.
Dude, it seems like people
they're on fucking Taco Bell commercials.
Taco Bell commercials now.
It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
It is weird. Like, it's you listen, like I remember listening to Time and Space like 4 years ago or whatever, however long, 3 years ago. Yeah. And I remember
2017.
I don't even know. Yeah, like it was a long time ago. I remember listening to it and being like, this is incredible. This record is super sick. I don't know like where you put it. Yeah. It's super cool. I remember thinking to myself, like, what I love about this band is like they will do whatever they feel like. Right. Like you can, like, there are songs on here where you can just tell like they don't fit like an aesthetic or like a cohesive like idea of what this album is supposed to sound like. It's more of like what this album is supposed to feel like. And if like the bass player wants to sing a song and it's more of like a 90s alt rock song, then like that's just what they're gonna do. And they're not scared to like just put some stuff out there that's like different. And now they're, I wouldn't have pegged it to become like, Turnstile opening for Blink-182 summer 2023.
Did you listen to like Time or Nonstop Feeling or like like, especially even after that, which I think the first time and only time I saw them pre-Time and Space was at the Forge. Right. And it was fucking crazy. But like, especially Time and Space, even then, like, it was one of my favorite fucking records that year. Favorite hardcore records to come out in a while. Yeah. You never would have fucking thought they were playing Jimmy Fallon, dude. No. Like, it's fucking insane.
You can hear the accessibility into, that it's, it's going to be more, it's going to get more attention than most hardcore records, but you didn't expect them to go full on like where they went with like hooks and choruses.
Do you have a hot take drop or anything? You punch in.
There we go.
Do you have a mute button?
I'm punching you in.
Do you have a mute button on that for like whatever he's about to say?
10 times better than Glow On.
You think so?
Yeah.
I love both of them. I
like Glow On a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
I wore it out,
Time and Space. Whew, I don't know. That just hit me in a different way.
Yeah.
I loved all the memes that were like, if you see your neighbor fucking playing this record with the glow on cover, rent's about to go up.
That's pretty good.
But no, they're fucking fantastic, and that rules.
Yeah, I remember like before they put out Glow On, they had like EP of Glow On songs, and then they made like that Michael Jackson type 20-minute long movie video, and I was like, God damn, that's so fucking cool.
They just try stuff. I mean, it's, it's cool to see a band with hardcore roots and definitely like hardcore mentality.
Yeah,
that comes from that scene. Just be just be experimental and try new stuff. And I'm thinking of a certain someone in Birmingham who would say something about they're not trying new things, they just listen to a Jane's Addiction record.
Shout out Matt.
There it is. But I don't like, obviously, like, influences are fine. I don't care. It's just, it's the fact that they did it. I mean, even if you want to say that, like, it's not, like, it's not interesting or it's not new, it's just hardcore with Jane's, thrown against Jane's Addiction. I mean, everybody was waiting for somebody to do it. Yeah. They did it first. And the fact that, like, they just are willing to try something new is cool. It's nice to hear something that in a genre like hardcore that you just don't hear every day.
Yeah. And now that they've done it, our next recording, we're leaning heavily into Savage Garden.
Okay. Right on. Chicka Chicka Cherry Cola.
Yeah. Dude, I was at the gym the other day. I haven't thought about that. That Jim Blossom's record with Hey Jealousy and the Matchbox 20 record with the fat guy.
Yourself or Something Like You.
Ooh,
those three records my mom had when I was just getting into music, and those 3 CDs were just constantly in my fucking little Walkman portable CD player.
Yeah.
But I was at the gym the other day, and all of a sudden, the Savage Garden, I Want to Stand With You.
Bathe with you in the sea.
Bathe with you. Dude, that song came on, I was like, holy shit, this song still bangs.
It hits, man.
This is such a good song. I gotta listen to that record soon.
I gotta quit this band.
I don't know. There's like an Adidas commercial or like a Guinness commercial, something where it's like showing all these guys in like an English pub and they start singing.
Oh,
that
really?
Song. Yeah. It's so good because it's just like all these hard-looking English soccer hooligans.
You're right.
Singing the song.
Dude, that's the first time I had thought about that song or band, and I can't tell you how fucking long. And it's funny, because I'll still go back and listen to Jim Blossoms or Matchbox 20. Somehow, the Savage Garden just...
We're not talking about the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like...
There's a huge difference. Don't put Jim Blossoms in the same sentence as Savage Garden.
Come on, dude. Don't disrespect the
I don't want this to devolve.
Don't disrespect Doug Hopkins. Those are not the same thing.
The Garden.
I don't want to separate you boys.
You will.
Over the.
You were gonna have to separate us the second we sat down.
I've got.
In seats
I
next
left.
to each other.
I knew I should have brought this over. I left my cat spray bottle over there for when the cat start.
You need
to start spraying you on.
You're like you had Sonny on earlier. It's like, Frank, you should have brought the gun.
Yeah.
Anyways, came and blasted.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, especially like in a genre of like hardcore or something. I think people get so like tied up in, well, this isn't hardcore.
Yeah, it's easy to get boxed in. There's a lot of rules, even though there's not supposed to be rules. And the whole point is that there aren't any rules. There's a lot of rules.
Have y'all ever wanted to do something like not insane with Qualifier, but doing like, I don't know, add a synth to a song or something? I don't know.
No, we're not that smart.
No. That's a good way to describe it, honestly.
We don't have the brain cells for that, but
an egg shaker or something.
I will say, like,
do you play the egg shaker?
I probably could figure it out.
Dude?
I could figure it out.
I kind of look at, when I write songs, I try to like think about it as like a book report, like in that I want to give myself like a template of there's a subject matter or like kind of like a universe you can write this in. But other than that, do whatever you want, right? So, like, for Qualifier, I really wanted, my goal was to write more linear songs. I told myself, I mean, even though they're melodic and they're catchy, like more of a hardcore song structure, not verse, not intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, but like riff A, riff B, riff C, we're done. Like there's going to be some songs like that like just have a real linear structure. They're not coming back to a chorus. There's not necessarily a hook.
Gotcha.
And even those songs that are like, we're going to keep it short, we're going to keep it fast. And now that we've been doing it for a few years, I'm letting myself off the hook of that a little bit more and more. And like, well, let's keep that baseline, but like, we can write some songs that let people know that like this is a band that maybe, listens to Kid Dynamite, but also listens to the Gin Blossoms, or like,
the average length of our song is probably songs are probably a minute and a half. One of these new songs we've got is fucking 3 minutes long,
which is a new thing and something that I didn't want to do from the jump. Like the whole point of this band was like no 3-minute songs.
Yeah.
And now here we are, like almost 5 years later, and that I'm breaking my own rule. But
hey man, rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah. So eventually, like you gotta crawl out of the box you make for yourself. But
it's true.
I think it's good to have parameters. Parameters can be helpful,
right?
Especially if you're like me and you're just not that naturally gifted at being like a creative thinker.
I got you.
Then parameters can help you be creative within a certain set of limits.
Yeah. It's like you got these tools. You got these 4 tools.
Right.
Now go make a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the kind of guy where it's like, if you tell me to like go write a novel, I'll, 5 years later, I'll still be on the first sentence. But if you tell me like, hey, go write a novel about, a street sweeper in Belfast, Ireland during the Troubles in the 1960s, then like I can pump you something out in like 2 weeks.
Andrew's Ashes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can. I can give you something.
Yeah.
Like parameters help. Like sometimes that's that's what you need.
Try to ride the line between punk and hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, so we'll have songs that sound like fucking, I don't know, Fireworks sounds what? Like, we'll have songs people are like, that sounds like NoFX. And then we'll have more hardcore songs. Most of the time, people come up to us afterwards and say, that sounds like Kid Dynamite, or that sounds like Lifetime, which is pretty much exactly what the fuck we're going for.
Yeah.
But, like, somebody wants to describe it, it's like they're probably the token punk band on a hardcore show or the token hardcore band on a punk show. It could go either way.
Yeah. My 2 favorite genres of music growing up in high school were probably, like, West Coast Fat Wreck skate punk and, like, East Coast melodic hardcore. And so I think that most of the things I write are at least sort of a combination of those 2 influences.
Yeah.
I always appreciated the melodies of like skate punk and obviously the speed and the energy too, but I always appreciated, I think, even more like just the rhythm and the energy of like bands like Strike Anywhere or Paint It Black or Lifetime or Kid Dynamite and those like East Coast,
shout out Dan Yemen,
or even like early Bouncing Souls records and stuff. Like that. They always had that kind of like chest pumping, driving rhythm and energy to them. That was just very different from any other type. Just Jade Tree et al. Like early Jade Tree stuff, like just Inquisition, like all of it just had like that real like distinct rhythm and energy that
you say Inquisition?
Yeah.
The black metal band?
No. Shit, what am I thinking of? Man, I'm tired.
I mean, if you want to write some Inquisition songs, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. I can't even think of what I'm thinking of now at this point.
Yeah.
But just like, that East Coast, anything from like Virginia to New Jersey, basically. That like mid 90s to early 2000s sound.
Yeah.
Always stuck with me. Even like, stuff like early Saves the Day. And some of the like younger bands that came up listening to that stuff and then put their own stuff out. Put out some records that made me go like, yeah, this is like, it's catchy without being sugary, and it's fast without being abrasive. You know, it's kind of takes all these different forms and throws them together and makes it work.
Yeah.
And it kind of creates its own sound. So I always appreciated that type of music, but I always loved, like, you know, your Lagwagon, No Use for a Name. Just really, really accessible, fast punk music.
Yeah.
Really just like songwriters like Tony Sly and Joey Cape that were able to write like super creative riffs and package songs in a way that were almost like radio rock singles, but in like a punk form.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I always love that type of music. Like, you just throw me on a Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack, and I'm happy. I'm a happy dude.
Fuck yeah. Damn, we're at like 50 minutes here. What? Roller coasters. I meant to come back to this.
Oh yeah.
What? For up until like.
You want to come to Cedar Point with us?
I mean, you knew what Cedar Point was, so you were obviously in the game.
Yeah.
I'm in the
I'm in the
game, but like up until last year, I was like deathly afraid of roller coasters. And me and my buddies went to Dollywood.
Okay.
Some good rides there,
dude. Yeah.
I didn't tell them that they were just like, should we go to like we were up in like Gatlinburg, and they're like, do y'all want to go to
Dollywood's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lightning Rod goes.
That was the first one we rode, and we were in line. I was like, I'm not like a big roller coaster guy. Like me telling my friends that, and they're like, "Oh shit!"
While you're standing in line, kind of shaking a little bit.
Yeah, my buddy looked up the lightning rod, and he's like, "Oh, it's like the fastest wooden coaster in North America, or whatever."
Right.
Yeah. And I was just like, "God damn it!" But yeah, it was great.
Dude, Cedar Point is straight up mecca for roller coasters. Yeah. Like, we'll go up there. We did 3 or 4 years in a row. Where, you know, you can stay on the grounds.
They have like cabins.
They have
behind
hotels.
And
they have cabins. So we'd get like a big group of people, rent a couple cabins. We'd grill out every night. We'd take a fuck ton of beer.
Yeah.
We'd get in there early as hell, hit all the coasters 5 times, come out for lunch, pound a couple beers, go back and do it all over again. And then they stay open until like 11. So by that point, we've had dinner, got a bunch of booze in us. It's the most fucking fun time you could ever have. Just riding coasters all day. Because they've got so many. And we typically try to go like off season. So you can just over and over and over again, man. But yeah, there's Kings Island is on the way.
Where is that?
Cincinnati.
So we've talked about planning a trip where we'd go up, hit Kings Island for a day, and then continue on to Cedar Point for 2 days. But I don't know. We've got to get back. The COVID fucked up, and him starting to have kids fucked up our Cedar Point trips.
Man, blaming it on my kids.
Damn.
Yeah. Fuck them kids.
My daughter will be old enough to ride soon.
Nice.
But no, I'm like, man, I'm about to just fucking. I could convince them. I could convince everybody to like tour up to Ohio. If I'm like, let's go right. Let's just go. We'll play 2 shows, 3 shows on the way up, and then just Cedar Point the rest of the time.
I have done a tour with an off date on the 4th of July at Cedar Point, and I would be fine doing it again.
So, did you like them now?
Yeah, I'm into them now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We my brother had a bachelor party like 2 months ago, and we went to Disney World.
Okay.
And we went to Universal too, and yeah, man, they're great.
Yeah.
They got the new Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
My parents are down there right now. My mom's on her like 5th ride of it. They're staying right by Epcot, so she's texting me every night just so she's in there blasting it.
Somehow I've never been to Disney World. I've been to Universal.
It's worth
but
going
never
to.
been to Disney World.
Yeah.
My mom was a cheerleading coach growing up, so I went to Disney World like once, like for like a week every single year.
Cheer competitions.
I'm the cheerleading company.
Let's get this man some money so he can go to Disney World.
Crowd fund, baby.
Buy some records.
There's a GoFundMe.
Buy some merch. Yeah. But yeah, do you have what's Qualifier got going on? We're about to wrap this up.
So think our Bandcamp's qualifier.bandcamp.com. We're obviously on all the streaming. But tomorrow, I don't know when this is going to...
This will come out next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Not tomorrow, but next
Wednesday.
Hello, future person. By now,
hello.
you have heard.
A week after this comes out, tomorrow I'm announcing a fucking show here in Birmingham with Off of Their Heads.
Damn.
But not a normal Off with Their Head show.
Yeah,
there's a twist.
Have you listened to the Calm Collected record?
I think I have.
It's like, it's not acoustic. It's like acoustic and electric. They almost get fucking experimental with it.
Yeah.
It's really fucking good. I mean, they're basically just doing different renditions of older songs.
Okay.
But it's really cool. So they're doing that.
Okay.
They're traveling as a two-piece, Ryan and Kyle.
Okay.
And I don't know, I've talked to Ryan a little bit, and he seems like damn near rejuvenated to fucking be playing music live again with this shit.
Cool.
So I'm announcing that with us, Mood Room, and Bicycle Day. That's going to be at the Firehouse January 21st. Very, very, very fucking pumped for that.
That's cool.
So yeah, and then I think we've got one other show booked for 2023 so far.
Hopefully we'll be recording in the spring.
Hopefully.
Putting
Nice.
some new things out.
Yeah. So that's about it. Like
Hell yeah.
that Off of Their Head show. There's one in February. I don't know. Should be coming soon after.
All right.
It's gonna be good shit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Nice.
That's about it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, Kevin and Andrew, you had options, but you decided to come over here and talk with me.
Dude, I was gonna ask
I appreciate that.
I was gonna ask what the name was, and now it all makes sense.
Yeah, I was like trying to think of
The thing is
cool
that
name.
we didn't actually have options.
I know.
Dude,
You guys
Our
are
podcast schedule is remarkably light.
Yeah.
you guys are legally obligated to come do this.
I was thinking like you had options. Is like, especially in our case, you had options. You decided to devote your time to playing in a punk band that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
There's you can whatever you want to interpret it as. Hey man,
But I was curious. I like that.
Yeah,
Hell
thanks,
yeah.
man.
Catchphrase.
There you go.
Good.
I love it.
All right.
Thank you for
Oh, yeah,
having
dude.
us.
Thanks
Oh,
for
yeah.
having us over.
Hell yeah.
Bye, everybody. Oh, hey. We got merch. Qualifier.bandcamp. You can get yourself a koozie or some shirts.
A deviled egg.
A deviled egg.
Deviled egg. I'll send it to you.
It's a paperweight. Egg.
Paperweight.
It's a paper.
Egg.
I offer you an egg in this trying times. Yes, sir.